Welcome, everybody, to Coffee and Crime, a podcast with me, Scott.
And I'm Therese.
And we're partners in crime, if you will. This show used to be the X's. We used to talk about relationships, and then we started talking about crime. And we decided that murder and mayhem was much more interesting in most relationships. So we decided to go all the way in with Coffee and Crime. I hope everybody out there who's joining in brought your cup of coffee, bring your comments, and actually, if you share, whether you're on Facebook, YouTube, or any of the channels, anything that you put in as a comment, we'll be able to see. We'll be able to answer you live on the show. So please put your comments in. Even though we take sometimes a lighthearted look at some of these things, we're not certainly making fun of anybody, any victims or anything, but sometimes there is a lot of ridiculousness going on in the criminal behavior. Sometimes the courts are ridiculous, and sometimes the punishments are ridiculous. But first of all, Therese, how you been? You good?
I'm good. How have you been?
You know what? I've been good. We've been off for a little while. We had just kept running into issues, but just when I thought, okay, great, we're all set, and then your car died. Did you get your car? You got your car fixed?
I got my car back yesterday. Yeah.
How bad was it? Bad?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Some rear seal or something. I don't know.
I think sometimes they just make shit up, and they don't know what it is either.
Well, listen, no, I ended up finding somebody that was like half of the quote I got from a dealership. So
finding a good mechanic that you trust is so important, guys.
Yeah, but they're like 27 miles away.
Geez. Well, I'm glad you're back. I'm glad that your car's back, and we can get right into crime. We've got so much to talk about. We're certainly going to touch on what's going on in the, although it seems like it should be over, we're still waiting for sentencing for the suitcase murders, right, Therese? We're waiting for sentencing?
Yeah, we're waiting for sentencing, but that'll be because she has agreed to had that investigation about the mitigating issues. So that might be like February.
Yeah, it was supposed to be in December. But what were the mitigating issues again? What is she saying?
Oh, I don't know. Her alcoholism, her domestic violence. What else?
It's a little late for that. What was her name again?
Sarah Boone.
Sarah Boone. Whack job. We've talked about it before. We're not going to spend time on it, but she put her boyfriend of a lot of years and a lot of time in a suitcase. Whether it was willingly or not, we're unsure, but put him in a suitcase, dragged him down some stairs, and left him in the suitcase overnight where he suffocated and died. But then, and she was obviously drunk, and she videotaped it. By the way, a good tip, if you're going to kill somebody, do not take a cell phone video. I know you're thinking this will be great for YouTube or TikTok, but it's not good for the court case. So she videotaped, or she cell phoned herself talking to him while he was begging to get out. He ends up dying. Now, here's where it goes sideways. They were both obviously drunk. There was evidence that they were both drunk. She was extremely drunk on the video. They've had a habit, and there's been a record of them both drinking to excess and using drugs and stuff. If she had walked out of that house that day and said, you know what, we were both drunk, I barely remember what happened, I can't believe that happened, she'd be looking at reckless endangerment or maybe criminally negligent homicide, something like that.
Mm-hmm. I believe
but she walked out and immediately started telling stories, and the stories changed. She changed lawyers 8 times until she finally got number 9, who was stuck with her. And she changed her story like 5 times. It was a game of hide and seek. Then it was, I'm defending. It was self-defense against abuse. And then it was this, and then it was that. And now she's coming out with, we were drunk, I'm an alcoholic, whatever. I'm sorry, you weren't drunk when you were in court telling the lies. So I gotta say, no leniency. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't think so. What's the minimum? The minimum is 22 and a half years. I think she'll get somewhere around 25, between 25 and 30, I would say.
All right. Well, I hope so. I really, really hope so. But, if you're going to tell a story, I mean, if you walk out, you do something and you come out and you say, I'm sorry that happened and I did this that's a whole different story than telling 4 or 5 different stories and trying to pull one over on the courts. So
Yeah.
I think throw the book at her. I guess we'll see. Now she's going to bring up a whole new thing. If I was the judge, I'd say no. You had an opportunity. That's like you cannot get convicted, then go back and say that you were mentally incapacitated or that you were what's the term?
Mentally ill.
Mentally ill, but they got a term for
Insanity.
Yeah, insanity. Thank you. An insanity defense.
Well,
if you don't do it at the beginning, you're not allowed to pull that out when you lose.
Well, no, I don't think that's what she's pulling out, but everybody has the opportunity to have an investigation done into their past and what details may have led up to this action, right? Like Lori Vallow refused to cooperate. I think Chad Daba refused to cooperate, but she's willing to cooperate. Now, I guess she had parents that died when she was young, and she's been alone since she was 20 or something like that. So there's going to be this whole big sob story, but I really don't think it's going to make an impression on the judge very much because he's the one that's going to decide on how long, right?
Listen, trauma from your childhood, it's hard to link that to locking somebody in a piece of Samsonite and pushing him down the stairs and laughing while he dies. I'm sorry. It just,
yeah.
I just don't see it. I'm probably being a little too harsh, but like I said, if she had told a story, then backed away from it and says, you know what, I was just a mess, fine. But she told 4 or 5 different stories with all these different people. At that point, she was, now she wants to take responsibility after she's found guilty. Sorry, no deal.
Oh, I don't think she'll ever take responsibility.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
No, I mean she wants to shift the responsibility to the
she always
instead of taking
Oh, it's always somebody else's fault, of course. Yes.
So we'll keep you apprised. Again, supposed to be sentenced somewhere around December 6th, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I think it's going to be this whole investigation thing is going to go on. We'll see what happens, but at this point, she has been convicted. And no matter what happens, she will be facing time. It's probably now trying to figure out the degree of time that she's going to have to face.
Mm-hmm.
Where are we at with Lori Vallow? Now, I hear some interesting things coming from out there.
It's kind of at a standstill. She didn't show up at her last hearing. She had said she wanted to represent herself, but then I think that she also has now a public defender.
Okay.
And now because they're trying to figure out if she's competent to stand trial and be pro se, but now she's refusing to cooperate with the therapist to decide if she's competent or not. So they can't rule on that hearing because she's not cooperating.
Now, she's already been convicted of 2 murders and a conspiracy to commit murder. So essentially 3 murder charges. Found guilty, sentenced to life after life after life sentence. Now she's in Arizona and she's answering for 2 other crimes: an attempted murder on her nephew or niece's husband, and the set up death of her estranged husband, where they made it seem, her and her brother made it seem like self-defense killed her husband. She's facing these charges. Now, I heard something or read something, or maybe you told me that she refused to go to court one day.
Yeah.
She's in custody. She's in jail. How do you say no? If you're in jail and they say it's time to go to the electric chair, and you could just say, no, I don't want to go.
Well, I don't think the electric chair, but I think court, yes, you can refuse.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, you can refuse. That one guy, Stefan Stearns, he didn't show up for like 3 or 4 court hearings. Finally, he showed up in court. Yeah, you don't have to go. Sarah Boone refused a couple of times also.
If you're not going to do what they tell you to do, what's the point of being in jail?
Well,
I mean, if you get to go to jail and just work out all day, get 3 hots and a cot and just kind of chill, sign me up.
Well,
it's an easy life. But he's got to answer for his stuff. You got to bring. She can't say no. It makes no sense to me.
I think she's just stalling because the hearing was to, she's not cooperating with the people that are supposed to decide if she's competent or not. So it's kind of like your hands are tied. I mean, she could have gone there, but what's he going to do? He's going to say, we can't make a decision because you're not cooperating.
Yeah, really. Hey, Laura's on with us. Hi, Laura. Thanks for joining us.
Awesome.
Yeah. Hang out with Laura once a month at DJ night. She's always out there, always doing a great job. We finally got our pool done.
Awesome.
And it's beautiful. I'll have to send you some pictures. Absolutely beautiful. And we got night swimming again and everything. And I go out and I DJ and still like nobody shows up. I don't get it. I don't get it. Maybe it's me.
Maybe it's you.
All right. So at this point, we're waiting on what's the next step for Lori Vallow, and when will we pick up the story again?
I think that we're waiting for her to cooperate and them to make a ruling on whether she's going to be represented or if she's going to represent herself.
I really hope. I don't pray. I'm praying though this time that she gets to represent herself, and I pray they put it on court TV.
Oh my
goodness! Could you imagine the circus that's going to be?
I know, right?
I mean,
it would be very entertaining. I was kind of disappointed when Sarah Boone got her last lawyer.
Yeah. Well, Sarah Boone, I mean, Sarah Boone would just be nuts. She'd be all over the place. But
it would have been entertaining.
Yeah, that's true. But I love The Walking Dead. I love zombie movies, and I'd love to have a zombie expert there in court testifying. I love that.
Oh my God.
If you don't know what I'm talking about, she actually claimed that her children were turning into zombies, or that they were zombies, and that she was killing them in the Lord's name.
And her husband, like everybody.
Everybody was zombies. Everybody was zombies.
Yeah.
And everybody ended up dead. Even one of the killers in the family, the brother, they didn't have to kill him because he got taken out by nature. Whatever.
I don't
heart thing or something. I don't know.
I don't believe that, but anyway.
Strange. Yeah, neither do I. I. At this point, these two, Chad and Tammy.
No.
Sorry, Chad and Lori.
Yeah.
Chad and Lori, we're not going to hear from them again. We're going to follow up on the court case, but they're done for life. There's no possibility they're going to find their way out of what they're in. There's just too much overwhelming evidence, including bodies, which is one of the things missing from this next case is the body.
Yeah.
This is a very interesting case. As soon as I find the name, there we go. Suzanne.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I don't want to get her mad because there's a possibility she's still alive. Suzanne Simpson disappeared. I guess, when was this? This was
October 6th.
October 6th. And this is in
Texas.
Is it Texas? Okay.
I think it's Texas.
Yeah, I think you're right. I'm looking at the name, Olmos Park. Olmos, Olmos Park. Is where they're from, Texas. But she disappeared back on October 6th. There has been no discovery of a body other than there's been a discovery of a lot of circumstantial evidence.
Mm-hmm.
And they've already arrested and charged.
Mm-hmm.
I could see I don't see charging. This is pretty quick.
Yeah.
They generally don't move this fast, do they?
No, they must. No, but they have some eyewitnesses to certain things. They have one of the smaller children's, testimony, even though they weren't in court, but they talked to the little girl and she spoke with the police and told them what she saw.
Yeah. It's just amazing. Husband, I believe the husband was one who reported her missing.
I'm trying. I think he did, but I think that he waited until her coworkers were questioning. I believe he waited until they started questioning.
Okay. Well, that couldn't have been very long.
No, it wasn't very long. It was like the next day.
Okay. Well, I want you to think, you and I are adults. We've been in different relationships and stuff. Have you ever had somebody go somewhere and just not tell you where they're going for more than 10 or 12 hours?
I mean, no.
Oh, okay. Maybe, maybe it's just me, people. People leave me and they don't tell me where they're going. I'm just saying, as if you're having a fight, if there's issues with the marriage, I can see reasonably somebody taking off for a day or two and just not telling somebody where they're going. I can see that as happening. So that's why it's like, I don't think it's really super suspicious to wait till the next day to call somebody.
No.
If you're innocent, you just kind of like, all right, I'm going to bed. She didn't come home the next morning. All right, let me make a few calls. Oh, her work called. Now I better call somebody. I could see that as being reasonable. Can't you?
Yeah, but I think I can see that as being reasonable. But I think that other people had red flags, and then that's why they were questioning so early, because they were having a very public fight at a very fancy party for one of their friends at some fancy, like, what do you call those things that the rich people join? Country club.
A country club. Okay.
Yeah, type thing. Then there was the account from the little girl, the things that she saw. She did call her mother somewhere around 9 p.m. and told her that he had hurt her and that her arm and her neck were hurting. And so there was that. So there's these things leading up to it. And then their 20-year-old daughter went out on her Instagram and just said, my father killed her in a domestic violence, blah, blah, blah. And she is not backing her father. She is calling him a murderer.
Well, yeah. I mean, if she took it to social media, that's serious shit there. Really, that's real stuff. But, again, usually we'll say, oh, this person went out jogging and then they didn't come back, or there's some sort of story that we can kind of follow. There really isn't on this one. There's a lot of, we saw them arguing here. We saw this. We saw him with her here. But there's no like real, this is the last time anybody saw her kind of story, is there?
Well, yeah, the neighbor saw them outside fighting.
But they saw them outside fighting. But it's not like there's usually a story. The husband will give a story. I'm not saying it's always a husband, because you women kill just as much people as we do. Let me tell you.
Not quite as much, but yes, occasionally.
Yeah, but as guys, we know we deserve it most of the time. So it's all cool in the gang. But usually there's a story. The husband will say, "Well, listen, she went out for a bike ride. She didn't come back, or we were both drinking. I fell asleep. I didn't realize she left the house." There was something. He really didn't give any kind of explanation that I'm aware of.
I know he took off to a ranch that they're very wealthy. She was in luxury real estate and he owned his own company or something. So they're very wealthy. No, he actually asked his friend to hide a gun. He took off to a ranch that is either owned by his family or him himself. And he didn't speak. He didn't speak to anybody. He wouldn't talk to the police. The police arrested him and he still hasn't spoken. I don't think he's given an interview at all.
So this is Brad Simpson, her husband. I don't have how long they were together, but he's 53, she's 51. So I don't know.
I mean, I think it's like over 20 years, something like 28 years or something. Yeah. A long time.
What the hell they have to be unhappy about? I don't know. They got money. They belong to a country club. They're going to ritzy parties. They've got friends. What the hell are they looking for?
Yeah. You never know.
Has there been? So anyway, the circumstantial evidence. We've got witnesses that see them fighting and have some suspicion. We got the kids, and then we've also got. They found a burn site where they found burned cell phones and laptops that belonged to him, and they found, I guess, a substantial amount of blood in his truck. Is that right?
I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah. And they also picked him up or looked at videos from around town. That's what they do, is when they suspect the guy, the first thing they do is, let's check the videos around town, see where he went and what he did. Mm-hmm. And at one point they found him with his truck loaded up with
trash bags,
trash can, heavy duty trash can, ice chest, large bulky item wrapped in blue tarp and held down with a firewood rack. And then they caught him going to Home Depot to buy cement. For cash.
After he dropped the 5-year-old off at school.
Well, yeah, you can.
They have a little one.
Well, yeah, but I mean that makes sense. How are you going to hide a body and take care of a 5-year-old at the same time? He gets in the way. It's just a pain.
Oh my gosh.
He also purchased Clorox disinfectant spray and insect repellent. So obviously, wherever he buried her, there was a lot of mosquitoes or something.
Well, they're saying that they're not sure if that was to mask the smell or if he just bought that because he was going up to this ranch place.
So while he's in the parking lot at Home Depot, he asked somebody where the closest dump was. And he intentionally shut off his cellular service right after that. So nobody could track where he went. Because, best tracking in the world, when your phone's off, you cannot ping it and do things, when the service is turned off. But anyway.
He also shut down, he put her service on suspension. Apparently that night, like somewhere around 9:30 p.m. The last night she was seen.
Before he even reported her missing, he canceled her phone service.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess he didn't cancel it. He suspended it.
That's just sloppy.
But that's probably so if nobody could contact her. It wouldn't ring. It would just go to like voicemail.
Right. Yeah.
You can't ping with hers if it's suspended.
Yeah. Apparently when they arrested him, he did not appear surprised. He did not react. And like you said, he hasn't really talked to anybody.
Yeah, I don't think he's spoken. Honestly, I don't think he said anything. I haven't heard that he has.
Well, right now he remains in the Bexar County Jail with a bonds of $3 million with a federal hold by the ATF for weapons charges.
That was the original thing they picked him up for. Was they found the firearms and then they found out about the one that he had his friend hide.
Okay. All right.
So that was the original thing that they got him there. They just charged him with murder, I don't know, maybe a couple of days ago.
Right. Well, they're searching a certain area. They have a relatively good idea about where she might be in the woods kind of thing, but they're searching the areas. Nothing been found yet, but there is certainly enough evidence when you put it all together to at least hold him. I'm surprised they charged him already, though. They charged him with the murder, which is very quick. It's very quick. I could see holding him. You got him on the weapons charge. You can keep him for a long time dealing with the ATF and the weapons charge without charging the murder before you find the body or at least a little more evidence.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know why they decided to charge him so soon. Maybe it's to protect the kids. Maybe so he can't intimidate them because they have 4 kids. So the youngest is like 5. There's a 20-year-old. And then I don't know if the other 2 are in the middle or if they're older. I don't know where they fall.
Well, I mean, the bottom line is this. This happens a lot more often than not. You'd be surprised how many people go missing, hurt by loved ones, and disappear. We report almost half of our cases are things to do with families that we talk about. Mm-hmm. And I think it's just like a good lesson that if you see something, say something.
Yeah.
If you think something's, listen. I know it can be embarrassing if you got it wrong. I know they might get mad at you if you got it wrong. But if you got it right, if somebody reports it faster, maybe there's a better chance of saving some lives.
Yeah.
But, can you imagine how many people hear and see things all the time that just turn away from it?
I know. I don't understand. The whole neighbor thing drives me bonkers because apparently this person heard all of this, even took video because they showed the police a video and that didn't call 911. They waited until the police knocked on their door. And then they said, oh yeah, by the way, this night, this all happened, right? Well, why wouldn't you call 911? You see this guy physically attacking his wife,
Yeah.
just call 911 anonymously. Say, listen, I don't want to give you my name or my address, but here is where the incident is going on, right? Because if you call, they pull up at your house.
Yeah. Well, and listen, we see it all the time. Couple gets out of the car, they're unloading the groceries, and they're yelling at each other. I thought you were going to get the eggs. I thought you were going to get the eggs. And that stuff happens. But when it looks like it's on the edge of violence or becomes violent, do something.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to get in a shouting match here and there. It happens, even in the best of marriages. Even in our relationship, we had times when we would, well, we weren't yelling and screaming at each other. We never went there because that's just not what we chose to do. But you can see we get upset with each other, and you could get mad and do things. But if it looks like it's violent, God, call 911. And I love the police. And special shout out right now to the Palm Beach Sheriff's Office. Lost 2 officers today, and one is in critical, who were struck by a car while they were on the side of the road. They were motorcycle sheriff officers. All 3 of them were on the side of the road. Somebody went off the road and killed 2 and severely injured 1.
Oh, jeez.
And but to the Palm Beach Guard Sheriff's Office, thank you for the service you do, and we're so sorry for your loss. But and I'm not going to load more on the police. I say that because I love working with the police. I do a lot of work with them, but they got to take these things a little bit more seriously sometimes. I think sometimes you just want to brush it off as, okay, it was no big deal. Look into it a little bit. Even an extra half hour to look into something might save somebody's life. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. I would agree with that. And apparently these Texas police, they acted pretty quickly.
Yeah. Well, they had the calls before, though, that they didn't think were a big deal, right? Or
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. All right.
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think that the family and maybe some friends kind of knew things were going on here and there, and I don't think it was a big abusive relationship for 20 years.
No, I mean,
he was in financial difficulty that they found out, apparently.
Financial difficulty?
Yeah. Him with his business and stuff.
Yeah, it's usually the guy who screws that stuff up.
Yeah, but I mean, why does your wife have to pay for your debt with her life? I mean, own up to it. Put some big boy pants on. Figure your shit out. File for bankruptcy. Do what you got to do.
Listen, people do not get away with this shit. I know you're thinking this is an easy way out. I kill her, I get the insurance, and I'm going to be fine. This almost never works out. It almost never works. The only thing you're going to do is you're going to put yourself in jail. You want to do that? Just go get yourself locked up for something else. Don't kill. But
I know.
One last thing that we want to add. So if you want to know more about this is Suzanne Simpson. It's a case in Texas. She's gone missing, and husband charged with murder and some weapons charges and some other things, but charged with murder without a body, just a lot of circumstantial evidence. But there's no way of knowing how she was killed, where she was killed. They're still looking. But one more piece to this that is the strangest piece of all is what she told her banker, her personal banker, Susan Simpson. She confided in her personal banker to look for her in a lake if she ever went missing.
I know, weird, right?
What are we on the Psychic Friends Network now? She's near water.
But I mean, if she said that, she must have been worried about something. There must have been some things going on under the surface that she sensed she was in danger or something.
Yeah, and at first I think you and I were talking. We started this conversation off camera before we started, and I'm like, why the hell would you tell your banker? But now that I'm looking at this, the word personal banker, it's not a banker, it's a personal banker. So, and you said she's a successful businesswoman. They had money. Mm-hmm. So sometimes these people become your best confidants. So they're helping you with your money. You trust them with all of that. So I could see where maybe that might be somebody you confide in. Mm-hmm. It's not like she just got scared, ran down to the Bank of America and told the teller, somebody's trying to kill me, you know?
Right.
So we'll keep an eye on this. Obviously, there are hot and heavy right now. This report was within the last 2 days of them digging and looking and sniffing and trying to find the body. So hopefully we will find some resolve to this pretty quickly.
Yeah. Originally, they went to a landfill. They've already been to a landfill. The one that the person at Home Depot had told him, but they didn't find anything there.
Okay. All right.
But that's gotta be awful. Have to search through a landfill.
It's just, yeah. I mean, forget looking for the body, just digging through a landfill.
Yeah, I know. Terrible. Be airborne.
All right, we need to lighten the mood a little bit. So I'm going to lighten the mood really quickly with the story of, let me get this guy's name right. His name is Lincoln. That was his first. Is that his first or his Timothy Lincoln? There we go. Timothy Lincoln used to work at Ulta Beauty.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and this is oh my God, is this in Florida?
Yeah, probably.
Yes, Lee County. This is in Florida. Thanks a lot, brother. You're not helping us. I was hoping to go through the day without one Florida story, but gotta have it. Timothy Lee had called and threatened to blow up the Ulta that he used to work at.
Oh, so no.
Now he's in jail. They arrested him for making terroristic threats. Ulta has now banned him for life.
Oh, you think?
Now, the reason I bring up this story is because you have to see what this gentleman looks like.
Oh, geez. Is that like tattoos?
Those are tattoos.
What's on his neck?
That's a blue beard.
Oh, that's a blue beard. Oh, pretty. He worked at Ulta?
I was just going to say,
really?
If I worked at a beauty supply store and came out looking like this, I might blow it up too.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm saying. I saw this story, then I saw the picture. I'm like, there is no way. But now I understand.
Did he get fired? Is that why he was mad at Ulta?
All it says is a former employee threatened to blow it up. Ulta evacuated all the customers and employees from the store, and they did all that stuff.
Where's Wayne County?
Lee County.
Oh, Lee County. That's up north, right?
It's north, and it's on the other side, not far from Tampa area.
So like past Tommy.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I think so, but yeah, because your brother's just near Tampa, just north of Tampa, or northwest or northeast of Tampa.
I don't know. He's around there.
But yeah, I just thought you'd get a kick out of that. That guy. That's the guy who's going to blow up a beauty supply store.
Oh my gosh.
I just don't see it.
That's crazy.
All right. What would you like to talk about next? Which story would you like to talk about next?
Sebastian Rogers.
Okay. And this is an unfortunate one, a sad one. Mm-hmm. Although it has not been resolved in any way, shape, or form yet, because what we're talking about is a 15-year-old autistic boy who was somewhat functional. Okay.
I think that's pretty high functioning. Actually.
He was high functioning.
Yeah.
But certainly had a problem. And people who are autistic, high functioning could have, with stressors, they could become worse, and they can retreat within themselves. They can have a hard time understanding basic concepts of finding their way home, doing things like there's a lot of things that go with that. Mm-hmm. But there's other times when they could be almost like perfectly okay. Mm-hmm. So. But this kid was apparently high functioning autism, and he disappeared from his home on February 25th. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, good Lord, we're talking about 9.5 months now.
Yeah.
And there was absolutely, apparently, tell me if I'm wrong, Therese, but there's really no clues as to what happened to him or where he went.
No, no. It's like he disappeared. His mother claims, now, this is where I get a little annoyed with all of the timelines and stuff that they put out, because everyone's going off of what the mother says. But if the mother did something to this kid, how can we trust her timeline and what she says? The last time he was actually seen was at dinner by anybody besides his mother. By any reports besides his mother was at, they went for pizza or something that day at like 6 p.m., something like that. Now, she claims that he went to bed around 10. She heard him making noise. She told him to quiet down and go to sleep. She went to bed at like midnight. And when she got up at 6 a.m., he had walked out of the house barefoot because his shoes are there.
Yeah. Did any indication of what he was wearing when he left? Did he get dressed?
No, I don't know. I don't know about that. I'm assuming he was probably in like, something he would wear to bed. Maybe like sweatpants and a t-shirt type thing, right? He's a teenage kid. But apparently he's barefoot. There's been nothing, obviously no financial transactions, but he's 15. So how is a 15-year-old who's barefoot going to survive for 9 months? He can't have a job. He doesn't have a license. How is he going to get food? Where is he been sheltering? Like, it doesn't make any sense at all.
Wow. Yeah, it doesn't really make any sense. I mean, and the investigation is all over the place. This is in Tennessee where he walked off.
Yeah, it's in Tennessee.
But the investigation is taking them to places like Oregon, the Canadian border, New York. It's all over. And, Dog, the bounty hunter, Dwayne Dog Chapman, he and his team are on the case. Dog is not active every day. I've worked with him for several years on different things, and glad to call him a friend. But I reached out to him to try to get some sort of quote or report on what's going on. He has not yet gotten back to me. Hopefully he'll get back to me. And if I do, I could send out an update to everybody or add it in comments if he gives us an update. But but he's out there chasing it down. Apparently there's some sort of friction because he did a fundraiser to raise money to help with the search. And then there's people that are getting upset with him. They think he's making money. There's a lot of different things going on. You know what? To hell with that. I don't care. I don't care if Jack the frickin' Ripper just shows up and says, I can help find the kid. Let him help and then worry about the other shit later. Find the kid. Just find the kid. I'm just saying 9 months. 9 months, I mean, walking out of the house barefoot, 9 months goes by. I'm not feeling good. I would love to say that, hey, they're going to find this kid. He's going to be fine. This is a tough one, Therese. I just don't. And with no real evidence, although they're saying there's new leads coming into the Tennessee Bureau of Investigations, but nothing credible, nothing that if it was really credible, we would be hearing something about it right now. And we're not. Yeah.
I don't know. It is like he fell off the face of the earth. There is no information at all. And I don't know if they have more information and they're not saying anything, or if there's really no leads. I mean, I would look at the mom and the stepdad. I mean,
Laura was right with you on that one. Thanks, Laura.
Yeah, that's what I've always said. Look right at the home, because we're taking this mom's word for it. There are some reports that the stepdad was not very nice to him. They were very controlling. They wouldn't let him do things like a phone, social media. So the kid doesn't even have a phone. But he was able to do some of that stuff at his dad's house. But his dad has been very active in trying to find him. His dad has been outspoken. He's been very active. The mom and the stepdad did like 2 interviews. And then she moved away from the home to follow her husband to his new job. Like, you're 15-year-old.
Are you freaking kidding me?
No. Shortly after, too. Like, listen, if my child was missing and I was in a home that's all they knew, I'm staying at that home until they knock on the front door.
Yeah. Hello. You find a way to make that work,
Yeah.
and
I mean, go do your job. Be gone for 6 months. I don't care. Stay in here
have
until my son is found.
has that house been turned upside down? Have they been seriously investigated? Because I'm not hearing a whole lot of, they're still under suspicion. I'm not hearing any of that. But to me, this story just does not, it doesn't jive together. If it doesn't
Even
shake, it ain't jello.
even the most recent quote or statement from the whatever the local police is there is they are saying that there are no signs of foul play. Like, how 9 months later can you say that there's no signs of foul play when this kid has not been heard from? He walked out of, even if it's not the mom and the stepdad, something has happened to this kid. There is definitely foul play here somewhere, whether it's a stranger, whether he was meeting up with somebody that he may have met on one of his gaming sites. If he was sex trafficked, something happened to this kid.
I know. We just talked about 20 minutes ago. We were talking about a guy who's in jail for murdering his wife, and there's no body. And, this kid disappeared under the strangest circumstances. I don't care. High functioning means that he probably would not walk out of the house barefoot. He probably would not just walk away in the middle of the night with no place to go.
I wouldn't think so.
It's, there would be, maybe a chance of acting out or doing something, but that kind of behavior just doesn't make sense. The story doesn't make sense. And now this after behavior of moving away and just in not being so active like I feel bad.
Yeah.
I feel bad.
It's not a good case.
Laura, actually, we were talking about this case a couple of days ago. She's really into this case and paying attention to it. Stepdad's family is very connected to the town. Stepdad knows the cops. So one of the suspects is connected. That's never a good sign. Never a good sign.
No, that's never a good sign. So let's have Dog find out what happened. I wish that he would confront that dude.
Well, Dog's specialty is in finding people. He's not a detective to solve the crime. He's the guy to go to find out where it happened and where they are.
Right, but he said on court TV that there's a law that he can arrest somebody as a citizen of the United States.
That's true.
He said that.
That's true. You could place somebody under citizen's arrest.
You have to call the police to actually put him in handcuffs and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, so, exactly.
I say go find the stepdad and confront him and see what he has to say when somebody's in his face.
Yeah, Dog doesn't carry a gun, but that taser works like a son of a gun. Go to it, Dog. Go get him. I'm hoping we'll sit and have lunch one day and you'll tell me about how it all went down, or maybe we could have Dog on the show to tell us about this kind of case and other cases like that.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Tell us a little something about it when he gets time to settle down. It seems like he's on the run so much with going after these people. I just, there's nothing in this story, and I think I probably just grabbed the wrong story, that really talk about, the parents and what's going on with them. How is the dad not just like screaming at the top of his lungs to investigate? Does he suspect that they did something to him, or do you not know that?
No, I think that he does. Yes. He's a little careful about saying things like that, but you can kind of tell from the way he chooses his words very carefully that he does suspect that something happened at the home that he doesn't understand. He's like, my son never walked out of my house because they had like 50-50 custody. He's like, he's never walked out in the middle of the night of my house. Things like that. But his dad is very outspoken. He has been like, he hired a private investigator. He's the one that spoke with Dog and got Dog to like kind of look into it. He's the one that's been trying, but he's also been getting a lot of backlash. People have been saying that he did something to him and that he's at fault, and like a lot of social media attacks, but he doesn't care. I mean, he's still out there.
Yeah, I want to encourage people to, if you read something about these kind of crimes, about these kind of investigations and these kind of activities, if you read something, then read something else to back it up. Don't believe one source ever. If you see it on TikTok, that's not news. That's not the truth.
Are you sure?
It might be the truth, but you need to back it up. One of the reasons that we have so much access to information, but the problem is people only start with one. Oh, I only listen to this one person at the news. I only listen to this one source. You're not getting their full story. You got to search around a little bit, sift through it. Like Therese was saying, there's people putting stuff out there on social media, and that's just can be really dangerous. So don't fall into that trap. Let's focus on the victims and stop focusing on our sensationalism. Let's find this kid. I really hope there's a way they can, but I'm feeling so bad.
Yeah, it's sad. It's a sad case.
And I mean, this kind of like rips at me like the JonBenet Ramsey case, where this little girl dies, and there's just it was somebody in the family, but there's no way to do it.
Right.
None of the stories made sense. It's like the boogeyman did not come through the window and do this and do that. Where did they end up finding her body?
In their basement.
In their basement.
Mm-hmm. In a back room, like a separate room from the actual big basement. Yeah. You know how those old houses used to have like the little tool rooms?
Oh yeah.
Wooden door. That's how I picture it.
No, it's very much like that because that's where I used to keep my kids when they acted up. But they were alive. I gave them water and bread. No, I'm kidding. I didn't do that. If you ask them, they'd say I treated them like
you didn't give them water and bread.
No, I gave them no water. No. One of them left the ketchup bottle, kind of the top of it still had crust. I like that wiped off. You don't do that, you get time in the room.
Oh my God. The chokey.
But here's the thing. Those kind of things in a house, those kind of hidden spaces, those kind of like side rooms and stuff, strangers don't come in and do that. That's where the family's like, or somebody in the families put them there. They won't, put her there. They still have not figured this out. And that's one of those ones that I don't know why we were so obsessed with that case. What was it? Was it because she was a little beauty queen?
I think it was because there was so much questions around it. There was the ransom note, right? Because some stranger that comes in the house and kills this little girl is going to sit at their breakfast bar and write a ransom note and ask for this certain amount of money from the dad. Just so happens that that's exactly what he has in the bank. I don't know. It's just, I think it was all just odd.
It was. And again, it's so frustrating that there's just no answer for it. And hopefully one day. But let's hope we don't go there again.
Now the family's starting to die off, right? The mom died, correct?
Yes.
The dad is older. I think he got remarried, but I think he's older now.
Well, I don't know. My money's on the dad, but I don't know.
My money's on the mom.
Yeah.
I don't know. I always thought it was the mom. For some reason, I think that she was jealous of the little girl.
It's disturbing. And whenever we're talking about kids, obviously we're very disturbed. We only got about 10 minutes left, Therese. I want to.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I know. Speaking of kids and disturbing stories, who can forget the story of Smith?
Oh, yeah.
Susan. The other one was Suzanne Simpson. This is Susan Smith. Yeah. Susan Smith, who, well, go ahead. She did. I know this one really got you. Years ago.
She claimed that a black man carjacked her car with her kids in it and took off, threatened her with a gun, blah, blah, blah. It turns out she had buckled them in their car seats, rolled her car down the ramp at the river in South Carolina, I think,
South Carolina is correct.
and left them in the car to drown. And then continued that lie for like 9 days until the police got her to confess, because she was afraid to tell the people that loved the boys that they were never going to see him again.
Yeah. I mean, to strap them into a car and to physically push that car into the water.
And it came out, I guess, that she attempted to do it like a couple of times. Like she released the parking brake and then pulled it again, and then released it and then pulled, and reports say that she stood there and watched it sink.
Wow. No, was that the one where they were playing that song?
No.
Oh, that
was Diane Downs. She had a very similar story, though. She claimed that some stranger needed help on the road and blah, blah, blah. She shot her kids, though.
But this one is, they wanted to get her to death penalty. They did not. What they thought was a life sentence. Apparently, some of the jurors were misunderstood. She actually just hit 30 years and was up for parole.
Mm-hmm.
The husband said that 30 years, that's 15 years for each child. He goes, that's not enough.
Yeah.
When you think about it in those terms, you know, I mean, you better start talking about 30 years per kid before you even think about letting this loop job out. But she got denied her parole. One of the things also said is she never has shown serious remorse.
Mm-hmm.
She said the word sorry. She's done a few things like that and said, she wanted, I don't know what she wanted to get out of it, but she never has shown real remorse. She is cold.
She is cold, yeah. And she hasn't been the model prisoner either. She slept with prison guards. She's got caught with doing drugs. She did something with the belongings of another prisoner. And most recently, she got in some trouble, like just a few months ago, with some person that told her that they were a producer or something. So I don't know what they kind of glossed over that, but she claims that she has an appeal that's not her fault. But do you remember this story when it happened? It was 30 years.
Yeah, I do. Because I remember, because we're talking about, it was 34 years ago when the crime took place. I'm trying to figure out exactly what.
No, I think it was brought to trial pretty quickly. I mean,
it was 1994.
Yeah.
So 30 years ago. Yeah. It came to trial quickly because there wasn't any question about what happened.
No.
So she was arrested and went to trial. And 30 years ago, I remember this story, and I remember being I was gobsmacked. I didn't know what to say. I had no frame of reference for that kind of evil. I never even considered it. And I was a pain in the ass young person, if you will. Even with some of the issues I had with drinking and drugs and different things I did when I was younger, I just could not picture that kind of evil.
Well, we would have been, how old were we in 94?
Well, let's just take 30 away from now. We would have been 28.
Yeah.
We would have been 28. And at 28, I just, I had a lot of problems in my life. I did a lot of bad things. I did a lot of wrong things. But I just couldn't understand that kind of evil. Well, and I kept thinking, she's just got to be like crazy. I expected her to see her run around with lipstick all over her face and, woo-hoo-hoo. And when they showed the pictures of her and stuff, I'm like, she looks normal. How does somebody do that? I remember that. What were you feeling back then? Do you remember?
I remember seeing her crying on TV, but what I can remember is I was 28. I had 2 children. I was separated from my first husband. That's exactly the year that we separated.
Wow.
And I just couldn't understand how she could do it. Like, I could look at my daughters and just be like, how could she do that just for, apparently she was dating some rich man and he said he didn't want kids. So she decided to eliminate the kids. But it was also said.
I remember that Yes, yes.
A letter from the boyfriend in the car. There was her wedding dress in the car, wedding album in the car from her husband who was estranged then. They were separated, and one of the prosecutors that prosecuted the case was there at the bail, and he said if she could have gotten David Smith in that car, she probably would have rolled him off of the ramp too. She just wanted to eliminate that part of her life.
Wow.
But the way she cried, fake cried on TV many years ago was exactly how she started out this bail. Like she started trying to cry immediately, like with the first 2 minutes. And there was never any tears. Her nose never got red, but she was wiping. There's nothing to wipe. I'm serious. It was terrible.
Yeah, I remember, and I think everybody wanted to believe her story. It's like, oh, there's this young mother. She wasn't ugly, no. And she's doing the crocodile tears, trying to cry or whatever. But you want to believe that. And I remember when it came out, which was just a few days late, when they said this is what happened. I think it shocked everybody. I think everybody had to sit back a little bit. And I think that we couldn't even conceive, what do we even do with a person like this?
Right.
And now we're looking at 30 years later, and she's looking to get out of jail. And like you said, she has not been a model citizen. She has not. Mm-hmm. She's not taken responsibility, as far as I know, and as far as what her ex-husband is saying, that she hasn't owned any of this. She hasn't been remorseful about any of this. She just basically says, well, I've done enough time. Let me out. And it's like, that's not how it works. She's stuck in there for at least another couple of years. They will reevaluate. And hopefully this will be one of those Shawshank moments where they say, denied.
Right.
And just keep saying it.
The ex-husband was it was so hard to watch him, because you can just see, he didn't even have to say anything when he stood up to say what he was going to say. Even before he started talking, you can just see the devastation in him. You can see it in his eyes.
Absolutely.
Even now, I mean, he has another family. He got remarried, and he has, I think, 2 kids. His daughter was there, but this pain hasn't gone away. He still, misses those boys and feels so bad that they didn't get a chance to grow up.
Wow. There's so many. We're at the end of the show. We got like a minute left.
Okay.
And we still didn't cover everything.
So shut up.
No. But it's just saying, there's so much to talk about.
Oh,
and I think the next story would have been really interesting, because I wanted to talk about Kroberger, Brian Kroberger. Did the college town murder, killed the 4 people, and now he's fighting, and his lawyers are fighting, saying that it's cruel and unusual punishment for death penalty, or to sit on death row is inhumane. We're going to address that the next show, 2 weeks from now.
Okay.
We're going to address that. And I want to address, and we're going to put this out there. I'm going to put this out there for early distribution as far as advertising for our next show. I want people to give their opinions on death penalty. I want to hear it. I think that now, with a lot of the cases we're talking about, it's an option. And I think it's worth talking about what people think. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's good.
Let's do that. Again, thank you, everybody, for joining us. Coffee and Crime. We want to appreciate you spending time with us. We want to thank you for all of the attention you've given us through our other show and everything else. And certainly moving forward, we hope everybody has a wonderful, safe, and happy holiday. Thanksgiving next week. Enjoy it. Therese, final message?
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Have a good time.
Yes, please. Have a good time. Eat lots of turkey. and then take a nice long walk. Don't fall asleep. You'll feel horrible.
There you go.
Bye-bye, everybody.